We're about to see a dramatic home landscaping project. It involved excavation and tons of stone. Jim and Will, the ultimate do-it-yourselfers, dreamt it, engineered it, and did the heavy lifting. They wanted us to see the finished project together, so let's go. Look at these rocks.
These are floating rocks here. This is one of the last things I did. This has 20 rebars in it. It's not going anywhere. Good luck trying to push that over.
Right? But they look so natural there.
Yes, that's everything in this. Everything is planned to look natural.
Oh my gosh!
So this was
look at all
nothing grew here. I think a lot of people can relate to this. They have this kind of crappy piece of side yard between houses where it doesn't really get enough sun. The gutters are taking all the water away, and it's too dry. Grass won't even grow.
Right.
That was the spot, and we just put rock here. Everything sloped perfectly, about 1 inch for every 6 feet. And because that's one of the first things I learned being married to an engineer is that you need to know where water is going around your house. Otherwise you're gonna have problems.
Absolutely. This is just, every little spot I look is another little thing of interest.
Check this out. This is the Blatilla striata. Big Bob hardy orchid.
Go Bob.
It's a deciduous orchid, so you don't have to worry. It's not like high maintenance like an orchid. You just put it here, and you can't let it get hit by frost if it's a late frost.
Look at these levels and these different little spots where you just want to stop.
Do you know how hard it is to make stone curve? Putting in sedges. Sedges are my new kind of favorite thing to landscape with. They have really great textures and different kinds of color.
Right.
They're very low maintenance. So
they only grow so much?
Yeah, and they only grow so much. You don't have to trim them. They look great in the winter. So I got a box full of I think 40 plugs of sedges coming in the mail here in a couple weeks. So I'll be busy.
So you're just going to intersperse them among all
the little sedges everywhere.
It's just beautiful here. It just keeps getting gorgeous.
Sensitive fern, ostrich fern.
All your pretty shades. Oh, I think we're approaching the sunken patio. My heart is so happy right now. And you placed every single one of these rocks, and it doesn't look placed. It looks like it just was meant to be here.
That's what I'm so happy to hear you say that, because that's what we were going for.
I mean, this is beautiful. Usually when I'm walking on something like this, it's a little wobbly. This is incredible.
We spent hours leveling every little spot.
It's incredible.
It was not easy, but it was important.
And you know what? Aren't you glad you did now?
Yeah.
At the time, I'm sure it was like, okay, can't we just let this slide?
Especially around July, it became a little tiresome, you could say.
I guess so. I guess so. And then look at what we have here. Oh my. This is where I would live.
It never gets old.
I would never leave
really
this spot.
Day,
and look, you've got little things.
I am so proud of this area. These are all huge rocks that we hand carved. You had to strike it and then you chisel it out. And these are all basically little horseshoe rocks built just for our friends, the trees, so that they can grow healthy and happy here. Underneath all these rocks is limestone fines. About 6 inches, I think, if I remember correctly. That allowed us to perfectly level all these stones around. This wall is setting on a 3 foot wide by 2 feet deep steel rebar reinforced concrete slab, horseshoe. The stone yard laughingly told us that we'll just put 30 tons of rock on just about 2 feet of 1/4 inch stone gravel, and you'll be fine. And Will nixed that idea because we would have a disaster on our hands is what we would have. So this wall hopefully is not moving anywhere. It's engineered. If we had a choice of engineering it, we over-engineered it.
And you know what? I like how you got things growing with it,
Stone crops. I can't even name all the stone crops.
It's just beautiful. It looks natural.
Well,
it looks like it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because this was inspired by all the national parks that we visited. We got married in Glacier National Park, and we wanted to experience a little piece of glacier every day.
sometimes a fool's task to try and lasso Mother Nature, but you've done it by using her own things.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this. It just feels like a little cocoon of Mother Nature right here.
It's a funny spot because we're so close to downtown. You get both nature sounds and you get some city sounds. It's a dichotomy, but you know, sometimes it's harmonious, and it's
Absolutely.
It's kind of like it's a perfect setting.
And you've worked in a ton of trees.
Oh yeah.
So how many trees have you planted in this?
I stopped counting after 70.
Wow.
So we're surrounded by a lot of Japanese maples. So I just pack them in and pack them in because, you know, they will just kind of dwarf in size. The ones that would normally grow a little bigger, if you keep them packed in, they'll dwarf. And we've got
foliage is just
yeah,
so
oh my gosh.
gorgeous.
Right now, this is maybe the second best time in the season to experience the Japanese maples.
It's an interesting space, Jim, because it feels big. It's not, but it feels that way.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was a part of the plan. That was a part of the design. We removed over 30 tons of soil here. So this was just a gentle slope down. I didn't realize it was gonna be 30 tons. We actually increased the volume of the space. Everything's hand carved as well, including this bird bath. I just saw this flat rock and I was like, that would be an awesome bird bath. This actually came at the end of the project. After we stopped moving rocks, I sort of became addicted, and I was kind of like, I need to work on something, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a bird bath out of this and put it right here. But this was sort of one of the last projects that we did, and knowing that we wanted to put some kind of water feature here, it's a 100-gallon system, and we just basically dug about 3 feet down. There's, I think, 25 bags of concrete here.
Wow.
We had to use some ingenuity to form the concrete to the space perfectly.
Yeah.
There was no wood form or anything that you could easily build.
This seems like
Critter paradise.
a wildlife habitat.
It is. By design, when we first moved in here, I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but I was thinking more uniform rows of things. I was thinking actually just like a row of crepe myrtles. Keep it simple, row of crepe myrtles here. You know, crepe myrtles are a southern kind of wonderful tree to be around, and Will's like, no, like we need to do something for the critters. We need to make, I think his words were bird paradise. We need to create bird paradise. And
I love it. I love it.
I'm like, well, I really like that idea, but it's a little more complicated to do, you know, bird paradise. And so from that point forward, we started planning the space for the critters and us in mind. So one of the wonderful things about this backyard that we absolutely love is we've got lizards, skinks everywhere. They're kind of fun to watch and scurry around. Will and I have become, you know, the birding people now, like watching the birds.
Okay, so Jim, we're going from water to
the garden.
Which I love. Take me through this wonderful garden.
These are my Taj Mahal of garden boxes.
I love them.
So when we first moved in, I had to have a garden. I've been gardening my entire life. In fact, that's what I got in trouble as a kid. On the farm, I would go and plant gardens where they shouldn't be.
Oh,
So
you
I had to have
stinker.
I had to have my garden boxes, and Will said, well, they're going to be difficult to put a garden box here. I said, well, how difficult can it be? It's just a rectangle.
Right.
And he said, well, it's on the side of a hill. And I said, well, okay, so one side's going to be a little taller than the other. Well, flash forward, we have on one side it is a four feet, and then this side it's 1 foot. So
it's really sloped.
In 4 feet it drops 4 feet, and then so these garden boxes have 16 4x4 columns, cemented, perfectly leveled in the ground. There's 120 lag bolts holding them together. There's reinforcements holding them together so the weight doesn't push them out.
Right.
I lost count after 15 yards of soil.
Because soil is heavy, as you know.
Yeah, and you've got to have good, as you know, like you can't have a garden without good soil. You have to start with good soil, build up. So
you know,
that's what these.
Jim, what you've done is you've made it easy on yourself, because All I've got to do is reach over
Oh, yeah.
and garden. I don't have
each
to
side.
even get down on my
We even
knees.
put perfectly leveled stone on that side as well.
Of course you do. Of course you do. And you've got all your plants here ready to go.
Oh, you want some tomatoes and peppers?
Because you think you've got enough?
I've got, every gardener that plants seeds has.
Do you have specific plants that are your favorites in this
absolutely.
garden?
One of our favorite trees is this Virginia pine. A lot of people don't use Virginia pines in their landscape.
Why.
I don't know why. I think it's just the texture or whatever, but I mean, it's perfect for the space. We have service berries for the birds. You know, everyone's like, you can make service berry jam and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, if you can beat the birds to them.
Yeah, and good luck with that.
Yeah, they're for the birds. Our favorite tree has to be the big leaf magnolia. According to my grandparents, I grew up in southern Indiana, and according to my grandparents, I knew every tree by name before I knew my ABCs. So I know all the trees of the forest. And so when we moved down here to Tennessee, I knew there was a lot of familiars and a lot of my, trees that I knew, but there's this one tree that stood out to me. And I'm like, what is that? It was on Fiery Gizzard at the state park here, just about an hour outside of town. And it just looked like an enlarged pawpaw. And I'm like, well, what is this? Like, this must be some kind of weird variety of pawpaw I've never encountered before. I didn't know that. And I kept seeing it. I'm like, this is no pawpaw. And so I got to the books and I found that it was the big leaf magnolia, Magnolia macrophylla. And the leaves get this long and this wide. It's like an elephant ear tree. It's they're so impressive.
It's appropriately named. It's perfect for your landscape.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So tell me all about this.
This is the Flintstone couch here. This was supposed to be, well, we didn't really know what to do with the space. It was kind of extra large, and either it was going to be a garden bed or an extra large path. We're like, well, we'll just put a bench here. How difficult could a bench be? Famous last words. All these boulders are all irregularly shaped. They had to be perfectly leveled so that the sitting experience here is
nice.
Wonderful. It's the perfect height. All these things go into planning a bench. The whole project was built with love, but if you could talk to these stones, they would say otherwise.
I understand. Jim, you have really combined hardscaping, landscaping, and gardening in one area, and it has just been a pleasure and a privilege to see it. Thank you so much for having us here.
I'm thankful for you to be here as well. So it's been a real treat to have you. The hardscaping's been waiting for you.
I'm coming back.
Okay.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.